What's going on, everyone? So at the end of season 3, we saw Julie trying to save her father. Clearly looks different, shorter hair, got the claw mark on her face, right? She's trying to figure out how to save her father, how to rewrite the story. Ethan said she would not be able to rewrite the story, but she believes that she needs to figure it out and that she can figure out and save her dad. However, she found out that her dad ends up dying. I'm sure we'll find out. I'm sure we're going to discover how we got to that point. But nonetheless, right, it's going to be interesting to see what approach they take. But we see the man in yellow show up. We see the man in yellow kill and take out Jim. Before he kills and takes out Jim, he kind of throws Julie to the side like a rag doll, kind of like, get off me, get out the way. And I have business to handle, right? And just make sure to take Jim out, right? Making sure he can never talk again, throat gone, right? And the question I have is, I guess two really, is one, why didn't the man in yellow just kill Julie right there? He easily could have killed her and still killed Jim, got rid of Jim. Second question is he going to kill Julie, right? Or attempt to kill Julie? Now, I highly doubt that the man in yellow is like, we're going to pick up where we left off and the man in yellow kills Julie. I don't think that that's what's going to happen. Is it possible? So a lot of people think that that scene we saw at the end was from a different kind of time, right? It wasn't in that moment where after Tabitha and Jade discover, the Onkui and, means remember and all that stuff, and Tabitha walks away and Jim, get some time to his thoughts and stuff. A lot of people think that isn't like directly. Like, it's not like, boom, okay, Jim just goes and walks down to the RV to go get his thoughts, right? Because a lot of people are like, hey, the RV was not close to the ruins and all that, so on and so forth, right? We'll see. We'll find out. So it is very possible that maybe Julie dies in that moment, and it's kind of like, she goes back to, because that's not the time that she was supposed to die, right? Could they maybe, my point is, like, could they kill her, right? And she kind of wakes back up almost like Groundhog Day in the dungeon room, because like that wasn't her time to actually die, right? She got involved, she intervened, she got in the way, Maniel took her out, but she respawned in the dungeon area. Right? Like, that could be interesting. That could be a cool little approach. Get like some crazy kill where Julie just gets like torn in half or something like crazy like that, and then respawns back in the dungeon room. Maybe the man in yellow even knows that was going to happen and kind of just playing and toying with Julie, right? Because, I mean, in all honesty, like, Julie's just, I mean, she's dead to rights right there, right? Like, the man in yellow easily disbanded Jim and was able to just take him out. And then Julie's just sitting there yelling and screaming like, no, like, is he just going to disappear and just say, good luck to you? Right? Or is he going to maybe try to take out Julie, but maybe he goes to try to take out Julie and maybe the man in, or the boy in white shows up. That could be a possibility. What if the boy in white comes and saves Julie and prevents her from being killed? Like, that could be kind of awesome. Like, the boy in white intervenes and the man in yellow's all not happy about it. Or what if, like, Tabitha and Jade come, but the man in yellow's like, like, because from Vil in particular is very specific, right? There's order to everything. So maybe the man in yellow is like, I can't kill all these people because it throws off the order, right? There has to be, there's a formula here. And we got to stick to the formula. We got to stick to the script here a little bit. So the man in yellow is like, hey, I can't kill him. And then maybe that's how they skip. Right? There's always some, usually you got this character and there's some silly reason that they don't end up getting killed, right? Somebody intervenes, somebody gets involved, or something happens. The killer gets distracted and all of a sudden the person's able to escape, right? It's usually how it goes in horror movies and shows and stuff like that. So, I mean, there is an easy kind of out and explanation for it, but you got to imagine that the man in yellow is not going to be, one, probably happy Julie's time traveling. I would imagine he is going to recognize that and see that. I mean, he supposedly lives in the dungeon, or I mean, we don't know that for certain, but Martin keeps talking about this guy coming back, and the only guy we've seen that was unaccounted for at that point is the man in yellow, right? So the man in yellow coming back and being the one that lives in the dungeon, you gotta imagine he's kind of hip and privy to everything that's going on, right? That he knows, especially if he's like upper management or the big bad. Got to imagine that he knows what's going on. Maybe that's why he can't kill Julie. Right? That could be a reason why. Maybe Julie, it's not the right timeline, so it would mess everything up and throw everything for a loop. Like, and it's just the way the time works, right? Like, you can't change anything. I hope that there's at least some type of dialogue, right? Like, like the whole, like, see, you can't change destiny, or you can't change time. You can come back here 100 times and I'll always kill your dad or whatever, right? And kind of have like the taunt, have the like, you'll never stop me, Julie, type thing. And then, Julie with the hero's promise, like, I'll do everything that I can. I will die if I have whatever I have to do, like, like I said, the whole hero's speech, right? Like, I could see the man in yellow having that kind of villain speech. So, like, see, look, you're getting into things you don't understand. You're never gonna be able to stop me, stop us, whatever. And then Julie, like, oh, watch, I'll figure this out. I'll figure out how to stop you. I'll figure out how to change time, whatnot. Like, I think that you could have like that cool approach. Again, I mean, there's an easy way to, like, there's several easy ways to, like, explain and kind of justify Julie not being killed. But I would like to, I hope the man in yellow doesn't just, like, look at Julie and go, like, all right, have fun, kid, type thing. Like, I hope it's something where there's, like, purpose and reasoning and kind of the, some good dialogue, at least some good explanation and story, rather than he just, like, looks at Julie and dips out, right? Because, again, I mean, look, the man in yellow could have easily, he just grabbed her and, like, cast her to the side. Like, what if he just, like, grabbed her, picked her up, and, like, threw her against a tree, or, ripped her throat out too, and then Jim's stuck there, like, dead to rights, because he's got Jim in his hands too, and kills them both, right? Like, that would have been even crazier, right? Imagine Julie dies and Jim dies. I mean, again, like, we would think of there's speculation now, and just like, oh, did Jim really die? Did not? Imagine if Julie do, like, there'd be so many ways of, like, is she really dead, or is she gonna, like I mentioned earlier, respawn in the dungeon, and she just kind of walked that story, but you can't intervene, you can't get involved, type thing. I think that'd be kind of cool, right? Like, if she died, because, like, what happens if you die in another story, right? Like, not even, like, through the man in yellow. What if she like went to go into the caves with her mother and Victor, and stumbled into one of those monsters, and the monster killed her? Like, is that it? She just dies? Or is it that she, she goes through a different time or whatever, right? Like, is it just like this endless cycle where that's the moment she just keeps coming back to, right? Is this, like, infinite paradox, right? Like, there's got to be something to it, is my guess. Like I mentioned, the man in yellow's got to know. The man in yellow's got to probably see Julie and be like, I know who you are. I know what you're up to. Like, like, I mean, especially, again, if he's the big bad. If the man in yellow really is the ultimate evil of this place, then he has to know that there's time travel, especially if he's living in the dungeon in which Julie goes to time travel, right? You got to imagine that the man in yellow maybe even be able to do that. The man in yellow may even be able to be a story walker, right? Like, there's multiple things in which you can kind of make the connections and tie it into. But regardless, right? Like, I'm curious to see, like, what's going to happen to Julie. Is Julie about to die? Is she going to survive? If she does die, does she, like I said, does she respawn? How are they going to approach this? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What do you want to see? Do you want to see the Man in Yellow kill Julie? If she does kill Julie, do you want her to survive? Do you want her to, like I mentioned earlier, kind of respawn back in the dungeon? Because I mean, like I mentioned earlier, like what happens if you're in a different story? You know, you're story walking, you're in a different story, and you die. Right? Like, is that it? You just dead forever, or do you go back to, the dungeon? Because obviously her body's not there, right? We saw her body was left outside. So is it her spirit, her essence, and so she just, or is it her mind, right? Is it kind of like, like remote viewing type thing, but she can interact and get involved, or, astral projection type thing? Like, what is it? Like where, the psychics can go and see, and take notes and stuff and inner rooms and stuff. Like, is it like that? Or is it like her presence? Is it her essence, her spirit, whatever? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it, no matter what, down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.